Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Dartmouth School Committee to order for Monday, February 10th, 2025. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Well, good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful and great to see such a large crowd here tonight for some of our awards that recipients this evening. I'm sure you're all not here for the budget presentation. So welcome all. We're happy to have you. Just a reminder that this meeting is being videotaped by our Dartmouth High School media program, and it will be rebroadcast on Dartmouth Community Television, DCTV Channels 9 on the following days, Wednesday and Thursday at 5 p.m., Friday at 6 a.m., Saturday at 8 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. The meeting will be rebroadcast on DCTV Channels 18 on Monday and Saturday at 12 p.m. and Thursday at 3 p.m. And as always, we thank Mr. Parati and his students for providing our television live stream this evening. Could we have a roll call, please, Mr. Bentner?
Kathleen Amaral?
Here.
John Nunes?
Yep.
Mary Beckwith?
Here.
Bess Coughlin?
Here.
Chris Oliver?
Here. Thank you very much. Good to see everyone. At this time, I just ask everyone to please, if you have an electronic device, cell phone, anything else, please silence it. And I'm happy to turn the recognition over of our Green Apple Awards to Dr. Saban McGuire.
And we're going to go right up to the podium. So first, wow, look at all the people that we have here. I bet our Green Apple recipients weren't expecting to see this many people, see them get recognized, but how much I think it's even better to have all these people here and to have some of our students in the audience to hear about your teachers and other staff members in Dartmouth who've been recognized by their colleagues, and they received an award tonight, the first ever in Dartmouth. We had what we call a Green Apple Awards ceremony. The Green Apple Award is actually presented to any member of the Dartmouth Public School community who's nominated by a colleague for exemplifying one or more of Dartmouth's core values. In other words, Green Apple Award recipients exemplify what it means to demonstrate Dartmouth pride. Pride, personal excellence, and responsibility. Respect for self and others. Inclusivity, diverse opportunities, and ethical commitments. And we wanted to take a moment to publicly recognize the 4 people that we awarded the Green Apple to tonight with a certificate from the school committee in conjunction with the superintendent's office. And so I'm going to ask Mr. Oliver to call up each recipient. We're going to ask you to stay up here because we're going to take a picture right afterwards. So we'll start with...
Good evening, everyone. Once again, we will start with our first recipient, Michael Capello.
Yes, I know. So we told them this is our inaugural time doing this so that any of the kinks that need to be worked out, we're going to figure it out tonight. So next we have
Mr. Daniel Lefebvre.
Don't worry, the teachers, students, you're going to be up here in a few minutes, so you know you'll be able to stand up here in front of all these folks yourselves in a minute.
Hillary Souza. And last but not least, Cheryl Cam.
So we're going to take a quick picture, but before we do it, we just want to say again how grateful we are to have the quality of educators and staff that we do here in Dartmouth, and this is a way for us to take a moment to honor them. And one of the best parts of this is that these folks were nominated by their own colleagues. These are the people that are working beside them every day. We have some honorees that we're actually going to publish on our website because there were other folks that were also nominated, but these are our first actual Green Apple Award recipients. So one more round of applause for them, and we'll take a picture.
And if I could ask my colleagues to come up, all of us, and we'll take a picture with them. And then we'll turn it over. You want that?
Can we be back here?
Yeah, I guess. We're still working out the kinks, so.
In between?
In the middle.
Okay. Ah, there we go.
That's right.
We gotta squeeze in. You guys gotta come over this way.
Yep.
We're gonna roll on over. There we go.
Thank you.
I will just say on behalf of the Dartmouth School Committee, congratulations. Some of you, my daughters have had in the past. I've worked with, so congratulations. And I don't know if any of my colleagues would like to say anything.
Well done. Congrats.
Well done.
What a great program and a great way to recognize some of our staff here at Dartmouth Public Schools. So thank you. For those of you who are with the Green Apple Award recipients, we have a few more. We have at least one more recognition.
Right, we do. Yeah.
We're going to recognize right now.
So it would be nice, right, to have this big crowd, and I'm sure Kathy Thornton, who I know is here. I saw her. I know I caught sight of her. If she could come up. So we wanted to recognize Kathy this evening. This evening because she was recently recognized as the MIAA, that's the sports authority that governs all of Massachusetts high school athletics, as the athletic trainer of the year. And we wanted to make sure that the committee had a chance to recognize. And just so I've seen Kathy in action. I don't know if any of you have, but I have to say she is one of the most vigilant folks that I see, whether it's at the football field, whether the students are playing soccer, field hockey, basketball, actually anything where a student might be in need of help. And I've said this about Kathy before. Kathy has what I like to call an eagle eye, meaning that you don't think she's noticing what's going on from 100 yards away, but she in fact does, and you can tell when she immediately responds by jumping in her tractor and racing across the field to make sure that she's taking care of our kids. And that's what is so, I think, remarkable about the work that Kathy does every day. And you hear it in the students and the coaches that you work with and just the educators who are around you. So we can't thank you enough for your service. And it is certainly a well-deserved award. And we are happy to hear that. Thank you so much.
I'll just say congratulations. It's a great honor to represent this at the state level, to be recognized as the trainer of the year. So,
Yeah.
Any of my colleagues, Mr. Nunes, or
Yeah. I'll just, again, congratulations. And like Dr. Saber McGuire said, sitting up in the box, I watch her in that, and she's right on top of it. I see the rapport that she has when I'm down on the field pregame, talking to the coaches and getting lineups, and the rapport she has with the students, fixing, ankles and whatever else needs to be done. And she's got a smile on her face, and the students are real comfortable. And that's what the big thing is, and keeping an eye out for the students. And for that, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now she goes back to work because we've got a basketball game.
That's right.
All right. Moving right along. At this time, the committee has allotted 10 minutes for anyone wishing to comment on any of tonight's agenda items. We have public comment, so as long as it's on the agenda, you're more than welcome to come up and share any comments that you have with the committee regarding tonight's agenda items.
Speaker one's good. That's good.
Evening, Mr. Silva.
Hello. Nathan Silva. Want to talk about the budget. So I was able to sit in on the budget subcommittee meeting on Monday, and I've spent a good part of the past week thinking about it and processing it, really. And I understand that the schools exist within a broader ecosystem of the town of Dartmouth, right? We're one Dartmouth. But what I keep coming back to is that I feel that our kids have done enough, right? Our children have done enough to bear the burden of the town's financial pressures. And I think we gotta turn that tide right now. You know, we've lost, what, 15 positions over the past 2 years or so, and with the current draft budget, and Jim, I don't want to steal your thunder too much, but it's looking like we're going to be down at least another 2 positions. But at the same time, we're significantly reallocating the resources within the schools, where we're cutting a number of standard teacher positions and shifting them over to special education and support services, right, to account for the increasing needs of our student population, right? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. We absolutely should do that. We need to meet our kids where they are in order to provide for them in order to maximize their educational experience. But what I'm saying is that we shouldn't have to pick and choose between doing those things. And I think, as I shared at the last meeting, it's not that the town doesn't have money. You know, I think the town has to better prioritize the way that we're spending our money. And just to give a couple more examples for consideration, in last year's budget, when the schools had to lose 9.5 positions, not a single other department in town had to lose any positions on account of the budget, right? And, you know, it's not that I want other town departments to lose budget or lose positions, right? Because I appreciate them and all that they do for us in this town. But I think it's unfair for us to expect our children to bear that burden alone. I think it's time for us as adults in this town to also stand up and help shoulder that load. And just another example, and it's kind of a silly example, but again, it speaks to priorities, right? In the last town meeting, we voted to increase the salary for our beach raker to $50 an hour, right? Because we couldn't fill the position. And don't get me wrong, I love Round Hill. The sand is pristine, and it's a great place to spend some time in the summertime, right? But if you were to ask me if I would rather have my beach sand raked or have a teacher's assistant in my daughter's classroom that has now grown to 22 students, I'm picking the teacher's assistant all day long, right? So I think we need to reprioritize the way we are doing things in this town and give more priority to the schools because they have dropped so far on the priority list. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I appreciate all that you do, so please understand you're not necessarily my audience, unless, of course, you are, in which case I hope you listen to what I'm saying. But again, in closing, the kids have done enough, right? It's time for us as a community to help bear that burden, right? So that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Next up, we have approval of minutes. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the regular session minutes of January 27th, 2025.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nunes, second by Ms. Beckwith on the motion. Any further discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up, we have our student representative report. So we have Elizabeth from Dartmouth High School here to present our student rep report.
All right. Well, good evening. And semester 2 has been in full swing, and February vacation is quickly approaching. To honor and celebrate Black History Month, Dartmouth High students' Black Student union members have been working on amazing artwork and visuals to display throughout the building, as well as coordinate a movie series for students to come together. Catherine Cheesebro, shout out, has set the new leading all-time basketball scoring record last week, which has not been broken since 1995. Dartmouth High indoor track teams are sending multiple student athletes to compete at states. We wish those athletes all the best of luck. The After Prom Committee has put together a very exciting fundraiser set for March 22nd at the Vault, New Bedford. This night will be full of live musical performances by current Dartmouth High students, as well as Dartmouth High alumnums? I don't know. Tickets can be purchased online. Flyers are posted around the building and were sent out via Parent Square. Last week, we also celebrated National School Counseling Week. The Student Council created cards for each of the guidance counselors. We are so grateful for all of their support and everything they do for us. Student Council attended their first CMASC conference while they learned about leadership and networking. Dartmouth High and Dartmouth Middle School are also teaming up for Music in Our Schools Month. There will be 3 different shows hosted March 4th for the band, March 10th for the chorus, and March 12th for the orchestra. All shows will begin at 7 p.m. at the Dartmouth High School. Flyer was made and sent out via Parent Square. And thank you for taking the time to recognize us this evening. Respectfully, the Dartmouth High student representatives.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. Any comments or questions?
Good job.
Thank
A
you.
lot going on.
There is a lot going on.
Thank you.
As always, you're welcome to stick around and see what else is on the agenda, or we certainly understand if you have some homework or something else that needs to be done.
Unfortunately, I do have homework. Thank you, Dal, for your
Thank you.
All right. Next up is in my humble opinion, the best part of the evening. It's our Spotlight on Kids. And we have representing the Dartmouth Public Schools this evening, we have James M. Quinn Elementary School. And I'll turn it over to our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Saban McGuire.
Yeah, I'm excited to actually to introduce to you Dr. Audra Thomas, our new principal of the Quinn School, official principal. So. And I think that's Mrs. Y back there, but I can't see.
It is.
Yeah, there she is. Okay. So all the students out here tonight, it's been nice to see you out here. It is, as Mr. Oliver said, the energy that you bring into the space is really what is why we do this work. So thank you for being here, and we're excited to hear what you have to share with us. We really are. I like your shirts. What did they say?
Very colorful.
Mm-hmm. Tie-dye. There we go. We're going to talk about we are going to talk about community partnerships.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity for Mrs. Y and I to be here this evening to talk about community partnerships. And also, we save the best for last, but our students that are here tonight, we're very excited to be here, so thank you. So, of course, we need to talk about our district strategic plan because that's what guides all things. And I'm sure you've heard of it before, and we've been very lucky to have Dr. Saban McGuire and Katie Paveo come to our PTO meeting, as well as to one of our staff meetings, so we're very well versed in our 4 focus areas. This evening, we will be focusing on Focus Area 3, specifically under FCE 2, which is to establish and strengthen relationships and opportunities to engage with the school and our greater community. And when we talk about the parts of community, we kind of are focusing on or highlighting 4 parts of our Quinn community. One of them being local community programs in Dartmouth and New Bedford, our university right down the street, the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, Dartmouth High School, of course, and then we have our amazing 5th grade peer leaders who are here this evening. So when we talk about local community programs, I want to give a shout out to Dolores Joseph, who's our town youth advocate. Our outreach workers at Quinn talk a lot about how she really communicates with our school outreach workers and gives them a lot of resources for our families in our school. And then some of our local community programs that you see on the screen here. We have Prince Henry Society of New Bedford, the Mass State Troopers, the Dartmouth Barracks specifically, St. Peter's and St. Mary's Church in Dartmouth, who really help support our families this year, both for Thanksgiving and Christmas, in supporting 15 families and 36 children this year with boxes of food, toys, gift cards, and that was really wonderful for our families at Quinn.
I'm going to have to move this down, we all know. So another amazing thing that came to Quinn this year we wanted to highlight is we were, so a professor from UMass Dartmouth, she reached out to see if we could have a couple of our classrooms play with a 3D STEM toy that they were creating. So in this event, we obviously were so excited. We had two really excited teachers that wanted to bring this on. You can see a student here. So what she did is she came in and she gave them the parts and they had to put it together, and they created in a group of three, 3D projector with light. And if you see it, it's like a fish tank that goes behind. And if you just look at the little boy in the middle, he is like beaming. They love 3D STEM activities, so this is something that was very engaging for them. And this is just a little snippet of our first grade classroom who was had the same great opportunity. And they were all very engaged, and the feedback was, wow, this was so fun. Could we do this every day? I'm like, well, no, but today you can.
At Dartmouth High School, we have an amazing early childhood program. It's run by Mrs. Polly Gilbo. She actually has been running this program for 25 years, teaching this program, and has been 9 years additional teaching in the Unified Arts program, so 34 years she's been teaching. And we have 13 high school students that come 2 to 3 times per week to Quinn to work specifically in our kindergarten classrooms, depending on the high school schedule, with a curriculum that is approved by the Department of Early Education and Care. And it's really such an amazing program that we never want to give up. We think that Polly Gilbo does an amazing job, and the students that come in are fantastic, working with our littlest learners. And at the end of the semester, it's actually a performance-based class, so they have to create a portfolio. And it's standards-based, so our kindergarten teachers as well as Mrs. Gilbo are the ones that grade the students that come in from the high school. I don't believe that this is a program that's been highlighted before, and I think that it's something that Mrs. Gilbo does such amazing work. They're there to work. She knows, the kids know that come in, the students from the high school, that this is a job, and they take it very seriously, working with our, like I said, our youngest learners. So we wanted to make sure we highlighted that program this evening.
We also wanted to just make sure that we recognize the positive impact that these high school students have on our littlest learners. As Dr. Thomas said, they are amazing. They provide role models, they take groups, they get to watch the kindergarten teachers do what they do, and they get to be a teacher in a small group. And it's a really great thing to see, to watch students connect with different people other than just their classroom teacher or us, and they make positive connections. They depend on them, so it's a mutual benefit.
And I don't know if many of you know, but these students, these high school students that come in, there's actually a partnership with BCC that they get 3 credits so that if they decide to go to BCC, those credits get waived for them. And they also earn a preschool teaching certificate through the Mass Department of Early Childhood and Care, where they can leave high school and be able to teach in a daycare program right out of high school, which is really great for them. And I think the best thing is that they're getting firsthand real life experience in the classrooms, which is really, really important. And I just want to say we have many teachers in the district and at Quinn who have been in this program at the high school, and they've come back to us to be our teachers. So it does benefit us because they come back, which is great. And we know that they've learned a lot through this program the right way. So it's really a positive experience for both sides. And this is some of our high schoolers working with our kindergartners.
Sitting on the floor.
In kindergarten, they're always on the floor, John. And we have save the best for last, our 5th grade peer leaders. We have 42 5th grade peer leaders. This program is about a decade old, and it is run by Tiffany Martin, one of our outreach workers who is here this evening. Tiffany, can you please give a wave? Thank you. And she has been running it this entire time. This process for these students who you are going to hear from is a rigorous one. The application process, yes, let's see their pictures. The application process, they have to interview. They have to get signatures from their peers. They have to get signatures from staff. So really, they know that this is something that they need to be dedicated to, which they all are. And it's something that they work really hard because they want to make the Quinn community and the Dartmouth community a better place. So some of the places that we have that benefited from this program, they do the Super Bowl Caring in February. And these are just some of the places that they've donated to this year and in the past. The Humane Society, they've given animal food, toys, monetary donations. Scholastic All for Books donations have gone to St. Luke's, Hasbro, Boston Children's Hospital. And the best thing is that these ideas come from the kids. So they meet monthly before school, once a month, and they also give up their recess time, which is a very big deal, especially in 5th grade, to come together and brainstorm ideas both for the Quinn community and also the Dartmouth community. So we're really, really proud of all 42. Of course, we couldn't have all 42 here this evening, so we did pick out of a hat, and our 12 students that are here today are very excited to share about this program. So I think we should hear from them, because that's what we're all excited about. So we're going to ask our 5th grade peer leaders. Mr. Galashaw is going to help, because he knows how to set you up. And we're going to have you come up. And the students have prepared something on their own about either why they wanted to be a peer leader, things that they're proud of, and I think you're going to really enjoy some of all the things that they say. So if you are a 5th grade peer leader, you can stand up. Turn around. You got it. You got it. And they're all rocking their Quinn Lions Roar tie-dye shirts. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Olivia Francis. One thing I love about being a peer leader is the opportunities. When you're a peer leader, you get opportunities like being a role model, getting to make posters and hang them up, and represent the Quinn School. If you want to be a peer leader, all you need is a positive self and a good attitude. That's how I got selected. Being a peer leader is fun if you think about the awesome things you can do. That's why I love being a peer leader.
Nice job.
Hello, my name is Juliana Tomas, and one thing I love about being a peer leader is helping younger kids in the school. I also had a great time with the Martin Luther King Jr. speech. I could not wait to be a peer leader because I love helping kids in my classroom and in my school. I could not wait for all the fun projects we will continue to do this year. I believe that with peer leaders, it really does make our school a better place.
Hi, I am Alana Machado.
One thing I love about being a peer leader is the opportunities, such as giving back to the community and helping little kids. I also love that I got to be a part of the Martin Luther King Jr. speech. I hope I inspire younger kids to want to be a peer leader. I couldn't wait to be a peer leader because I wanted to help our school become a better place.
Hello. Hello, my name is Bennett Crook. To start, I love being a peer leader. It's a great way to spread kindness throughout the school and be a role model. As a peer leader comes with a lot of responsibility, but it's great to build mature adults. It's difficult to get in, but it's great. Peer leadership has been a great experience for me, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Hello, my name is Isabella Silva, and being a peer leader is more than just attending meetings and helping with food drives. You have to know what you signed up for and really care about it. When I found out I was a peer leader, I was thrilled. To be able to help my school and my community, it really is an honor. Now I get to be here with all of you, expressing my love for this opportunity to make change. So I guess in conclusion, being a peer leader is a privilege, an honor, and awesome. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Sam Vargo.
Okay, Sam, you got it. Go ahead, Sam.
Being a peer leader is about giving back to the community, whether it's helping with a food drive for the needy or just doing a kind act, such as picking up someone's backpack if it falls or complimenting somebody's shirt. Being a peer leader is about lifting up those around you. Being a peer leader is being a role model for those around you. Being a peer leader is what I love to do.
Hi, I'm Stella Callahan. I, being new to Quinn, loved and still do creating new bonds and friends through being a peer leader. I also like being a peer leader because I love seeing my peers happy and joyful. Hi, my name is Peyton Morris. What I love about being a peer leader is that I am a role model for my peers and all the opportunities you get to work with other students and help kids in younger grades. I also love helping the community grow. I also loved making the Super Bowl posters and the Kindness posters for Kindness Week. I loved helping the first graders with holiday activities.
Hi, my name's Logan Nunes. I became a peer leader because I wanted to help other people and the community. I also want to become a leader. So far, I've done all of that. I had the amazing opportunity of helping first graders, and I got to participate in the Martin Luther King Jr. speech. Thank you and have a good night.
Hi, my name is Ira Patel. I like being a peer leader because I get to lead the school and learn leadership skills and have fun while learning. I had to fill out forms to become a peer leader. I had to do an interview and a whole process to become a peer leader. I'm thankful to be a peer leader. I knew that being a peer leader was going to take a lot of time. So now that I am one, I'm very thankful. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Abigail Bussier. When Miss Martin asked people to become peer leaders, I knew I wanted to do it. To become a peer leader, we had to write an essay, get teacher signatures, then we had to get into an interview. I thought it was impossible. I tried so hard. Now I'm here. We talked and helped first graders, and it was a blast. Now we have so many opportunities to come.
Good evening. My name is Victoria Roja. When Miss Martin came into my classroom to ask who wanted to be a peer leader, I immediately wanted to be one, mostly because I love helping kids. Then I saw how many people wanted to be one. I thought it was going to be impossible. It did not help to look at the essay I had to write. It caught me off guard. My dad helped me work through it and calmed me down, and well, now I get to be here today with you guys.
Nice job, everybody. You did a great job.
Do you want to take a photo?
I mean, yes, we would
just
love
saw-
that.
I just saw Dr.
You don't have
Tebow
to ask
with
me
his
twice.
camera. Yeah, maybe.
Here he comes.
Well,
Here
we
comes
could
the
have the kids come
photographer.
behind again.
So you want the kids to come behind you?
Yeah, we can stand up.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're gonna stay.
Us too.
Oh, God. Okay. Great. All right. Well, let's get in. Absolutely.
Either way. Plenty of room.
Hang on, guys. We still got people still taking pictures. Hang on.
All right. All right.
We good?
Looks good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if the committee wants to ask anybody questions before anybody goes. Okay.
Start out there. Anything?
I'll just make a statement. I won't put you all on the spot, but I'm sure you would rise to the occasion. Yeah, really incredible. At your age, to be stepping up and taking steps, and making decisions about committing to the incredible responsibility of being a peer leader is just awesome. And I was listening to each of you, and all of your reasons really exemplified what leadership is. And you talked about being kind and about helping your community, about helping your classmates pick up their backpack or giving them a compliment, making change and being an inspiration. All those things, I can only imagine in a best case scenario that as you grow up and you decide what you want to do for life, perhaps you'll come back all of those things. You could be an educator. Maybe you'll sit at this table and you'll help shape the future of our school department in our community, or a million other things you could do. But it really brings me joy to hear all of you. It tells me that we're going to be okay, and the future is bright with all of you in it. So thank you.
Yeah. Wow. I'm not sure how I can finish. One of the things I did is I sat while they were speaking, and I was writing notes as to what the students were talking about, and what they talked about, and between the attitudes, role models, creating friendships, leadership, responsibility, opportunities, helping younger kids, helping students, giving back. And they all wrote them themselves, and and they did a wonderful job of articulating that. And I congratulate you, and congratulations to the parents for doing a wonderful job. Much success. Thank you.
Being a leader is hard work, but it also takes great courage. And so I applaud all of you for having the courage to step up and do this. And I hope that you will, that this is just a start for you, and you will take opportunities at every school you're at every level you're at, to be a peer leader, because there's always opportunities to be that, both formally and sometimes informally. So I'm so glad that the Quinn School has you, and that the broader Dartmouth and the greater community has you. So thank you so much for the work you did and are doing this year.
I think they were all very eloquent. All I can add personally is, well, and for all of us, we're very proud of all of you, and we know you will do great things.
And I will be very brief, because I think my colleagues have said it all. However, all of you should be very proud of yourselves for coming up here and speaking on camera, in front of all these cameras, in front of all these people. You should all be very proud of yourselves. It's great to hear about our peer leaders in the program at Quinn. It's so wonderful. It's also great to hear about Polly Gilbo's program. It's been around. I know that My daughter's a perfect example. She graduated from Dartmouth High School last year, and she is a certified early childhood teacher, and she's working part-time while going to school. So it's great opportunities that the Dartmouth Public Schools have. And I have no doubt that maybe some of you will be going back to Quinn to visit some of the kindergartners there someday when you're in Miss Gilbo's program. And parents and caregivers, you should be very proud of your students. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was.
Yeah, and at this time, everyone is welcome to stay. We have a budget presentation coming up. However,
But please do watch it later.
yes.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
There goes our audience.
All right, next up on the agenda, we have some consent items. Dr. Saban McGuire is recommending approval of the following requests. At the Dartmouth High School, WGI World Championships Indoor Color Guard, April 1st through the 6th, 2025 in Dayton, Ohio. And DHS World Championships Indoor Percussion, April 18th through the 13th, 2025.
April 8th. You said
what did I say?
18th.
Thank you. April 8th through the April 8th through the 13th, 2025 in Dayton, Ohio. You should have all received these requests in the packet.
Yep.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Both items.
Both items.
Take them.
Second for both items.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Noon, second by Mrs. Amaral. On the motion, any other discussion?
Good luck.
Yes. Looking forward to hearing how they do.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. At this time, much anticipated FY26 budget presentation, a proposed budget presentation. I'll turn it over to Dr. Seema McGuire.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oliver. So we are going to present the FY26 proposed budget tonight, and what I hope you hear from us as we present is that it is a reflection of our commitment to student success, responsible resource management, and alignment with our district strategic plan. This $55 million plus budget was developed with a focus on meeting the evolving needs of the students while maintaining fiscal responsibility. We have carefully prioritized investments in instruction, student support services, and curriculum materials. And we are working diligently to ensure that every dollar spent directly benefits teaching and learning. And at the same time, we have taken steps to realign staffing and resources to reflect the changes and the challenges in student enrollment and educational demands. So some of the key budget highlights that you're going to hear this evening in detail is that you'll hear and look for the fact that instruction remains our top priority. It represents 75% of the total budget at a little over $41 million, and that is a 4.6 increase from FY25. We have considered classroom staffing adjustments, including adding 2 full-time special education teachers, 2 full-time special education team facilitators, a 0.5 half-time elementary adjustment counselor, and possible additional work days for specific positions to ensure more substantial support for our students. There is a significant increase dedicated to high-quality curriculum. It's at a little over 76%, and this reinforces our commitment to academic excellence. We have looked at administrative restructuring, including the addition of a human resource director and a stipend for a website and social media liaison, and this reflects a focus on staff retention, recruitment, and improved communication, all again part of our district strategic plan. Other services you'll see in this budget include transportation, health, athletics, extracurricular. There's a 5.3% increase, and this does account for projected transportation costs and also at the same time realizing some savings from reducing one bus route. Again, working diligently to make adjustments where we believe we can. Tuitions for out-of-district special education placements. This is a 4.9% decrease, which demonstrates our ongoing effort to enhance what we're doing in district. And you've heard presentations and you've heard us talk about making the commitment to improve and to strengthen what we are able to offer our students in the district. This supports our district's strategic plan, which focuses on improved teaching and learning. I think it's important to say that because that's what our work is. Regardless of everything else that we talk about, at the core of the work we do, it's about teaching and learning. And at the same time, making sure that we're paying attention to student well-being and that we're fostering community engagement because we need the community beside us and in this work with us. The investments made in this budget support key areas of our district strategic plan, including enhanced academic resources, expanded mental health, special education support, and access to extracurricular opportunities. And I'll just add here, we're still not where we need to be. We have a ways to go. For example, the increased funding for curriculum and expanding mental health services demonstrate our commitment to the comprehensive support of our students. The focus on administrative and instructional staffing is designed to build a supportive learning environment to ensure that every student has the resources and support that they need to thrive in school. The need for updated curriculum. This has been something that we've been talking about now, and I think, again, I know it's the broken record, but it's really important that we recognize that we have evolved into a digital age. So the days of the traditional textbook as the core of classroom instruction is outdated. It's becoming increasingly more outdated, and yet as we walk through some of our schools, we see some of these very old textbooks on the desks of our students. We all know this, we're experiencing a rapid pace of technological advancement, and students require access to dynamic, interactive, and up-to-date learning resources that go beyond a printed page. The funding for curriculum materials in this budget is not about replacing textbooks. It's about investing in current, relevant educational content that can be tailored to meet individual student needs, provide real-time updates, and offer engaging learning experiences. Digital platforms, interactive resources, and online learning tools are essential to creating an environment that fosters critical thinking of our students, allows for creativity and adaptability, skills our students need to succeed today. This shift in curriculum and learning materials is vital for ensuring that our students are equipped for the future. It also supports our district's vision, our vision for providing a 21st century education that goes beyond traditional models, empowering our students to be innovative, engaged, and lifelong learners. And the budget reflects our dedication to enhancing the goals of our strategic plan, focuses on our 4 areas of teaching and learning, safe and supportive schools, family and community engagement, and budget and capital improvements. And you'll hear that in great detail in Mr. Kiley's presentation. We do believe that this positions us for our schools to continue to progress, and we want to see continued progress and at the same time growth. And that is where we are really going to be looking to the community for support in our budget. So Jim is going to walk you through the details of the budget, highlighting key changes, areas of investment, and the rationale behind some of our financial decisions. And so, Mr. Kiley, I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Saber-McGuire. I appreciate that, and you've obviously, explained a lot of what we're trying to achieve in this plan. So we have as you know, a new strategic plan. Dr. Saban McGuire talked about it. I think from a budgetary perspective, the importance of it is that it was designed to be an actionable plan in which we could set our priorities and find a way to align our budget goals to those priorities. So I hope that, I know we've made an effort to do that in this budget. As Dr. Saban McGuire said, we're definitely not there yet, and we have some work to go to really achieve the goals of the strategic plan. But we are hoping to start that journey with this proposed FY26 budget. I'm going to start off by just mentioning about our enrollment. It is expected to be slightly lower than it's been in the past 5 years. We've seen sort of a very slow decline, but it should be slightly lower at 3282 right now, which is about 100 students less than where we were last year at this time. I do have the average class size on the right-hand side of this slide. So with this budget proposal, K-5 elementary class average class size would be 21 students. Middle school average class size would be 20 students. High school is a little more complicated because of the breadth of offerings, and so to calculate an average class size at the high school is somewhat different. But we believe they'll remain manageable with this budget proposal. Student-to-teacher ratio is 11.9 students to 1. The state average is, the state average is 11.9 students to 1. We're at 12.5 to 1, so slightly larger than the state. But what I think is particularly important to recognize about our students is that they're becoming needier. Dartmouth's percentage of high-needs students has increased from 29% to more than 43% in the last 10 years. Our low-income students have increased from 17.5% to 30% over the last 10 years. Our students with disabilities have increased from 12.5% to over 21% for the last 10 years. This year alone, our increase in students with disabilities is 7% from last year. So our students are continuing to become a needier population year after year. As you know, during that stretch, our budgets have only increased modestly. Primarily cost of living increases. So that leads us to where we are today, and really is an important factor to consider when we're talking about needing resources to support kids. This is sort of how we spend the money, and in comparison to other communities in the state. We're $2,752 per student below the state average in per pupil spending. So of the 322 districts in the state, school districts, we're 270th. We're $276 per student below average in the teaching category. We're 196th of 322 districts in that category. We're 38%, or $1,264 per student below average in insurance and benefits. We're 308th out of 322 districts. We're $239, or 33% below average in administration. We're 296th of 322 districts. We're $671 below state average in operations and maintenance. That's 39% below average. We are 310th of 322 districts. And in pupil services, we are just $9 below state average, 148th out of 322 districts. So you'll see the trend that we're below average in every category. We're way below average in many. And, you know, I think that with student needs increasing dramatically, it's an unsustainable pattern to be spending at the level that we're spending. So we'll talk a little bit more throughout this presentation about that and what we're going to propose. So staff per 100 students, also another interesting indicator that we've looked at in prior years. Dartmouth's in the green. You'll notice Dartmouth has less staff per 100 students than than state average in every category. You'll also notice that Dartmouth has less staff per 100 students than the Dart. The Darts are comparable districts in all categories except for teachers, and it's pretty close in that category. Again, this pattern of support for our kids when they have increasing needs is really not, not a good plan to succeed moving forward. We, I think, know that we get a lot for our money here and that we invest our money wisely, but there just simply isn't enough of it. So what's the plan for FY26? This is what it looks like. Instruction includes funding for contractual obligations. It also includes the reality that we've shifted instructional dollars to our school choice budget. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but our school choice budget right now and the savings that we've accumulated in our school choice revolving fund is really what's keeping us afloat. The administration portion of the budget, we'll talk more specifically about the proposal, but includes a proposed human resources director position. Maintenance and utilities reflects level funding. I will say that we've been fortunate that for the most part, with a little blip fairly recently, we've continued to receive capital improvement funds from the town, and town meeting has been supportive in that regard, and we continue to try and be more efficient and save money where we can. So we're continuing those efforts, and that has paid off. Other services budget reflects contractual obligations, an increased cost of transportation. We're going to, again, try and reduce another bus route in fiscal year 26. We've reduced 2 years in a row. We've reduced one bus route from 29 to 28 in fiscal year 26. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm committed to figuring it out.
Could I just ask
yes.
you, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kiley,
Yep.
what's the cost of one bus route?
About $80,000.
Okay, thank you.
But costs are increasing in that area, and there's, we can be as efficient as possible, and that's the only way we can, make an impact in that area. That's, significant increase statewide with that regard in terms of transportation. Tuitions reflect special education out-of-district tuitions. So in total here, you'll see that we have a $55 million budget proposal, $55,306,558 before Medicaid, and Medicaid of $46,953 for a total of $55,353,511. I will show you on this next slide that school choice, though, is funding in the FY26 budget proposal $1,673,220 worth of expenses. I personally never thought we would be there. It's significant. We receive, if you recall, we receive, and we shared at our school committee meeting in which we had our school choice hearing, that we receive approximately $700,000 of revenue. So we're almost $1 million in terms of spending over the revenue number. So really what we're doing is using $1 million worth of savings in fiscal year 26. So when we look at the changes that we proposed, and we'll look at the individual recommendations coming up, instruction, as Dr. Saban-McGuire mentioned, increasing 4.6%. Administration, with our proposal for Human Resources Director, which we'll see in a moment, 14.3%. Again, maintenance and utilities, level, approximately almost level funded. Other services, meaning transportation, student activities, and our health services and a few other things, increasing 5.3%. Tuitions slightly down, 4.9%. Medicaid slightly up, $2,236, but 5%, for a total budget increase of 4.1% proposed in FY26. So, what are the specific things that we're asking for that are not currently, in the FY25 budget? So, we have an adjustment counselor at the elementary level. This would create an equitable staffing level amongst the elementary schools with the addition of a half-time adjustment counselor. 2 special ed teachers at Dartmouth High School. Again, attempting to address those increasing student needs. School psychologist at Dartmouth High School. We have a part-time school psychologist at Dartmouth High School, 0.6, 3 days a week on average. We really need a full-time school psychologist here, and this will address that. Special education team facilitators, 2 staff members. So those folks would be participating in the entire special ed process and supporting our students with special needs. High quality instructional materials, $150,000. This will also be supplemented by the use of school choice funds. $150,000 sounds like a lot of money, but unfortunately it doesn't go that far when we're looking at district-wide improvements in that area. The Human Resources Director position that we mentioned, an education support professional at the Cushman School, really just an identified area of need in order to support our youngest learners. Art, music, health, and wellness coordination stipends. We, in our process of gathering information and identifying ways in which we could support our students, we identified weaknesses that we would like to correct with some stipends in those areas. Music advisors, this has been a chronically underfunded part of our budget, and really we're just addressing, we're not adding anything, we're just addressing something that is already there and finally funding it appropriately. And the website and social media liaison that Dr. Saban-McGuire mentioned. So, unfortunately, in order to do that, we've had to make some decisions. And I'll say that it's significant decisions that we've had to make in terms of reallocation of resources. Our focus in doing so is to attempt to do so through attrition, if at all possible. I will say that right now we have a plan to reallocate the following positions: elementary teachers, 4 elementary teachers, 2 middle school teachers, 2 high school teachers, and 1 high school education support professional position. Of those positions, we think at this point in time, 7 would be covered through attrition. There's 9 positions there. Now, there may be additional attrition along the way. We're not, it's still fairly early in the school year, but we don't know that yet. So those are the reductions that essentially we're reallocating positions in order to support the district with our recommendations. There's 9 there. There's 7 positions that we've proposed on the recommendations page. So we would be reducing, as Mr. Silva mentioned, stole my thunder there, 2 positions net. So in this proposal, we are funding the following through school choice. We are continuing to fund the ESSER positions that are critical and have, we're funding currently in fiscal year 25 through school choice. So special education teacher, occupational therapist, reading specialists, speech language pathologists, adjustment counselors, education support professionals, instructional technology specialists, and nurse. We also committed in fiscal year 25 to utilizing school choice funds for curriculum materials. So again, we would supplement those curriculum materials that we've built into the budget with school choice funds here. And as we've always done, we've used a portion of school choice to support our technology program and to make sure that we have current Chromebooks have been the primary use of our technology funds from school choice. Again, that was so important to get us to the 1-to-1 ratio that sort of carried us through the pandemic. So we'll continue to use the school choice funds for that. And this is what that would look like. So at the beginning of fiscal year 26, we're projecting to have $2.2 million in the school choice revolving account. We'd be using almost $1 million of reserves through this budget plan, and that would leave us at the start of fiscal year 27 with approximately $1.3 million. And you'll see that in fiscal year 27, if we continue the pattern that we're currently on, we would be spending a little over $1.7 million and would end fiscal year 27 with a little under $300,000 in the school choice revolving account. And obviously, that is where it ends. And we no longer would have the funding necessary to continue that for another year beyond fiscal year 27. So I'll go back to any of these and we can talk in detail, of course, and we'll have more school committee meetings to talk about this and digest. And, as always, I'm available for any questions you might have. I just wanted to fill you in on a couple of other things. I did receive an invitation from Gary Carrero, the town's finance director, or co-interim town administrator, to attend a finance committee meeting on March 6th. So we have a school committee meeting on March 3rd, in which that's our next school committee meeting, in which you all will have another opportunity. This will be on the agenda, and we can, discuss it in more detail, of course, and answer any questions you might have tonight and on March 3rd, and then present to the Finance Committee on March 6th. That would be before you'd have a public budget hearing. Will be the second meeting in March, so we'll have a public budget hearing here. and then a vote of the budget at the following meeting. Just for your information too, the Finance Committee has requested a different format from this. So I'm gonna attempt to pull that together. I know we did send you the entire budget packet, which obviously the presentation is just a piece of, but I'll share with you what the Finance Committee is looking for, and we can figure out how we're gonna present that to them.
What type
of
format, Mr. Kiley? I only ask because there's only so many hours in the day for you, and those types of requests that require an absorbent amount of human capital really should be going through this committee.
So the Finance Committee has created sort of a standard set of information that they're looking from all the departments. So I'll share it with you, and we can talk about how we're gonna address that. Obviously, how many pages is it? 99.
The one you said this afternoon was 99.
99-page budget presentation, budget packet has a lot of the information that they need. It might just not be in, so in the format. So we'll figure that out
further.
Yep. So, any questions that you might have, we'd be happy to begin talking about.
Would anyone like to start?
You want to start?
I guess, gosh.
I can certainly start. I have plenty to say.
No, it's disconcerting. What is in here is what we need. And we're not alone in this. I think this is sort of a systemic issue in terms of funding for, but to Mr. Silver's point, and have you had any of recent conversations with the town to kind of gauge appetite to be more mindful about the young families that might want to move in and be part of our community, and versus forgetting about public education as a town, as it seems like?
Yeah, I mean, so I do think that I have been encouraged by the dialogue that I have had with, particularly with Gary Carrero, in that I think I can't commit to anything on his behalf. He's working, with the whole town's budget, and obviously that's a balancing act. But I do think that he is very willing to consider our needs, and it's not going to, I can tell that it is for sure not going to be the situation we were in the previous year, in which there was a number that was given to us and there was no discussion about it. So I think there's the willingness to consider our requests. Not to say that the 4.1% budget will end up being fully supported. It may not. But I do think there's a recognition that they need to be mindful of what we need to support kids.
That's encouraging, and I do believe it speaks to the collaborations that have been happening and the conversations about decades worth of planning for more larger capital projects, and us bringing these presentations every week. And if anyone is listening for the first time, it's really important to really call out that when you're talking about school choice funds, those are funds that are really contingent upon a yearly vote, but also resulting from the capacity of a district to even entertain the thought of, the committee might, depending on our enrollment, yes, it's going down, but what do all of these reductions, proposed reductions, if they were to come to fruition, what does that look like for how we can support students? And so it's it's a little overwhelming to. So I don't have any additional. I mean, I have other questions. I'll let my colleagues move on. It's a lot to sit with and digest and think about. So, thank you.
My turn.
Mr. Nunes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, Mr. Kiley, on the budget recommendations, the school psychologist, the .4, is that the same person just making
Yes.
that person full-time versus
Yes.
the .6? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's that there. On the reduction side, we had a wonderful, and thank you in all seriousness for everything here. But on one of the slides, you had the school enrollment and class sizes type of deal. What do these, 9, check that, 8 because one is an ESP, but still, the 9 position, what is that going to do to the class sizes between specifically middle and elementary? I mean, high school, again, depending on what class, et cetera.
Yeah. So these class sizes on this slide reflect those reductions.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I tried to be clear about that, but I was worried that I wasn't. I didn't make that clear. But yeah, so those will be the class size, the approximate average class sizes. Now, that's projecting kindergarten and incoming kindergarten enrollment, and it can vary a little bit, but in general, that's what we would have.
Could I just piggyback off of that question? Well, since it's fresh,
Please.
Mr. Kiley said, could the committee actually get actuals for this year for class sizes?
Sure.
In K through 8? I think that'd be helpful
that
in
right out to you.
making our budget
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fine.
considerations.
Yeah.
No problem. Actuals would be helpful. Thank you.
Of course.
Sorry, Mr. Nunes.
No, please. That was a great question, Chris. And I guess a couple of more things here. With the school choice, the way I look at this, we're out of money in 28, so we've got 2 years to get our act together, but this budget at $55+ million, there's no wiggle room, okay? And when I say that, if somewhere down the line, in their infinite wisdom, town fathers and such reduce us by 1%, aside from draconian cuts, we've got to go back to school choice and take another $553,000, which at that point chokes us in 27.
Correct.
If I'm reading these right.
Correct. I mean, you technically speaking have $291,000 of wiggle room in fiscal year 27, but I mean that's it.
Yeah, but if we move,
Yeah. I mean, there is that kindergarten stabilization fund still has not been used.
250,000?
I think 300.
Okay.
So
yeah, but that's a one-time shot and
Right.
it's gone.
right.
That's
Type-
right.
type
It's not
of
the
deal.
way we need to operate.
Yeah,
no.
and again, as I said at the last meeting, school choice should be handling incidentals and things,
I agree.
extras type of deal, not buying a box of paper clips or a box of pens and such.
Well, we literally are doing
That.
paper clips and pens,
Pens with
like
school
that.
choice.
So
Oh, yeah.
in our budget cuts in fiscal year 25, we moved
Yeah.
some supply in order to balance the budget. We
Absolutely.
moved supply money to school choice. It's there.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
third line down on expenditures. So.
Go ahead. Chris, Kathy's got a question.
Yep, and I'd like to approach the budget discussion a little differently this year because it seems as though this is an ongoing concern year after year. So I just like to go back to your point, Mr. Nunes, around town fathers. Who are you? Just so this is a televised meeting. Who are we referring to when we say town fathers? I want to be, I want to be transparent. I want to be, collaborative. But
as do I.
For the parents and those people watching.
The final decision on the budget is basically going to come down to the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you.
Okay?
Just for everyone watching at home, just so we're clear.
So it's as simple as that. When you go back and you look at the 66-page one type of deal, and I wasn't going to do this, but well, the one I printed was 66. The 99 came out this afternoon. I didn't have time. My printer ran out of toner. So, but in all seriousness, I wasn't going to, but then I figured I had to. I mean, between what the state average is and what we are is $9 million. Shot type of deal. I mean, I'm not trying to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'd be happy with half of that. Okay? And we wouldn't have to have a lot of these discussions as to what goes on and everything else. And my last comment is, and I don't know what I know Mr. Kiley was talking about what the FinCom was looking for. I mean, Mr. Kiley, you did an unbelievable presentation last year and the year before with a lot of these graphs and everything else. You had them, you put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it. Personal opinion, I think the basic budget type of deal sent to the Finance Committee, this wonderful presentation here, that I think is going to basically answer any question they've got. I mean, I'm not sure what they're looking for, but I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. It's here. It's already been reinvented. Personal opinion. And I'm good at the moment.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes. Going back to you, Mrs. Amaral.
Yeah, so I was just curious. So this budget proposal is before us. In past years, we've sort of received those items that, and maybe I'm missing it, but items that are really needed but didn't make the final cut, and that also can provide a really, that visual paints another picture to say, we are not asking for all the pretty little things. These are the things we need to function, for our school district to function. Is there a list, or is this inclusive, or are you being creative?
No, it's a good question. It was actually page 100, and I just didn't get to it. No, it belongs there, and I recognize that.
Okay.
I just was scrambling
no, that's okay.
to get you what I got you. And,
no.
I will get you that.
Okay.
We can certainly have that.
I know we have aging
and,
buildings, and I can't imagine that there aren't.
No, there are quite a few requests that obviously couldn't be incorporated into this budget, within the limit that we were trying to work with. So.
And can you talk a little bit more about projecting tuitions?
Yeah.
We are a district that serves students who have a variety of needs, and there are occasions throughout the course of the year where I notice the decrease. I'm assuming that's sort of somebody aging out or no longer needing the service in the out-of-district tuitions. But then there are students who move here, who we do what we can to support their needs, but then they may need something more that would require us to then we can't ask for it. We're bound by law to do it, and so at a high expense, but at an important need to accommodate for. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, it's the most volatile area of our budget in terms of potential impact, right? Because you know, an out-of-district tuition can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000 in just in the tuition. And then, depending on transportation costs, you know, it can be quite a bit more than that. We do receive some reimbursement from the state, depending on how much it costs to provide that service for a student. So we factor that in. Hopefully, that's fully funded by the state. They're bound by law to participate in that process. Sometimes, through the years, the legislature has not fully funded that program, which is pretty despicable. But anyway, they've done that. But of late, it has been fully funded. We are factoring in a 3.42% budget increase in terms of the operational services division inflation rate on our tuitions. So what we do in the budget in the budget process as it relates to tuitions, we know a lot of the kids that are, you know, going to need to receive services and budget for them. Because we have a historical pattern of understanding and data that tells us, okay, how much is it going to, how much do we not know right now? We build in a very small amount for that. And then, obviously, if a student happens to be aging out or graduating and will no longer, you know, be our programmatic and financial responsibility, then obviously they come off the rolls. And we do have a few cases of that. So, in all, we're careful with this because it is so volatile and it can be so costly with just a very small change that it's a concern. The sources we use to pay for tuitions are this money in the operating budget, the special ed grant, federal grant funding funds a significant amount of tuitions for us. Hopefully that doesn't get hung up in Washington. I don't think it will, but you never know, I guess. And then the state reimbursement for what they call the circuit breaker funding. So we're careful when we do that budgeting.
Thank you very much.
Continuing off from Mrs. Amaral, I think we asked for this last year, and please, no worries at all. Could we see, and I think it would help everyone, the Finance Committee, as well as everyone watching in this committee, a slide with our offsets for Circuit Breaker, 240,
Sure.
Title I, all of our grants, just so we can show, you know, our offsets and what that money is actually funding.
Will do.
Thank you, Mr. Kiley.
No problem. Have that for you at the next meeting.
Mrs. Beckwith?
Have anything right now? Actually, I do. Mr. Kiley, when you talk with the Town Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen, how do they look at our need to use the school choice funds?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know this year how they look at that. I mean, I haven't met with the Finance Committee. I haven't met with the Select Board this year. So I don't want to assume that they feel any certain way about it right now. But in the budget process in which we sort of struggled the most, the last couple of budget processes, I think the feeling was that we had this money here. Why aren't we using that to solve our problem? And I mean, the answer is that, like,
right.
So we're using it, but it's not solving a problem. Right. It's just pushing a problem down the road for another person, or somebody maybe, to solve. And as it turns out, it's not very long in the future that we're going to have to solve it. So, that was their approach. I don't know what to say about that. It works for the moment, as long as there's a solution coming. Which,
Good answer for the moment.
Yeah.
And also, are there other town departments that have a source of funding similar to school choice that are expected also to spend?
Good question. I don't want to speak for all the town departments. There are some different mechanisms. There are enterprise funds in which they charge fees, and school choice is essentially us charging a fee for the service. And in terms of them using those reserves, I don't know. I know that they use current revenues. I don't know if they're spending in deficit in those programs. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Beckwith?
So,
Ms. Koffler?
tagging along on that, other departments like DPW, when they are running short of cash, they up the amount you have to pay for your yearly transfer station sticker and for your trash bags, and they feel it out, but they just do it because they need the money. And
make no mistake about it, it's another tax.
It's another tax that you don't have any say on. When the school department needs more money, we can't just get more money. We have to go through the select board and the finance committee. We have to get the backing of the town meeting, and we have to get the backing of the majority of the town, those who have a direct stake and those who have an indirect stake. So, I think Mr. Kiley makes quite clear that we run a tight ship, that we do a lot with a little. So our school choice funds are picking up the slack, and clearly it won't last. So when we look at our school choice fund spending, and I think this has been mentioned before, there are certainly things that we shouldn't be funding with that money, specifically the 11 full-time positions. That is not something, those are people's jobs, and they shouldn't be dependent on students coming from out of district to be paid. So either I would hope that the town would find money to fund those positions, and if the town can't, eventually we have to come to the public and ask for funding. It's just interesting how some town departments get their money. They need it, they get it, they take it. And we have to carefully negotiate and ask, and so I just hope that the town residents, fathers, understand it is a tight ship and we can't keep going like this. This year will work, next year will work, but think about the students, our most important asset.
Agreed. Thank you, everyone. I have a few things I'd like to just share and some thoughts on all of this. So, looking at the slides with the where Dartmouth ranks out of all the districts with insurance and benefits, with total per pupil expenditure, I think this is important because I have it in my notes here. This district, well, so first of all, I want this district to be great. I don't need it to be the best. I don't think anyone needs us to be the best in the state. I want us to be great in the state. And I think we deserve that for our students. We deserve that for this community. We deserve that for our faculty and staff. And the only way that we're going to be great in this state and with our DART districts across the board is with increasing our total per pupil expenditure. We are going to have a significant problem with recruitment and retention pretty soon. When you look at insurance and benefits, 308 out of 322, the data doesn't lie. It's pretty specific. Insurance and benefits, and then when you look at the total salaries across the board compared to other districts, we are historically slowly falling behind. We've talked about this before, and it's continuing to happen. It's not okay. I'm tired of it. This is my 12th year on the school committee. I think we have a responsibility to this town and to the students in this town to do better. Let's talk about our paraprofessionals. We're 1.1 FTEs per 100 students less than the state. That's our ESPs, our education support professionals, or our teaching assistants, what they used to be called. 1.1 less than the state. We all know that with a ESP, that classroom teacher can do more with their students. Mm-hmm. Yep. We're significantly below our paraprofessionals. Our teacher ratio per 100, I would like to comment a little bit about that because in full transparency, I'm just tired of talking rhetoric. I want to talk data and specifics. On the slide, Mr. Kiley, with the school enrollment, K through 12 class size, and that's why I had asked for actuals. But just to be clear, our 12, for everyone watching and those of you in the audience, our 12.1 students to one teacher, I'm going to have to assume that that number includes our coaches, mm-hmm. our specialists, our reading and math specialists.
It does.
And our special education teachers. So they're being all lumped in to it, which is fine, but just for transparency and for clarity, that number, our classrooms don't have 12 point, it says it, the average class size is 21 in K through 5 and 20 in 6 through 8. But it's just a little bit deceiving, the 12.5 students to one teacher. So that lumps in all of our support teachers, on what you could say. I'll go back to my notes.
And Mr. Oliver, again, with that 12.5, the state average is 11.9. So that's not a good thing to be 12.5 with the state average 11.9. We have more kids per staff member than the state average. Not where we want to be, providing support to an increasing, high needs population. So just.
No, absolutely. And going back to the slide with the increasing, I think I have it here somewhere, our high needs population increasing from 29.3% to 43.5% over the past 10 years. Those high needs students they need more support. And with more support comes more money. It's pretty simple. So one of the things, as far as your new positions that were presented, and Ms. Coughlin and I were at the budget subcommittee meeting, and I think I'll speak for myself. I certainly support all of these budget recommendations. However, I think, once again, speaking to the data and full transparency, that this committee has an obligation to share with the finance committee in this town what we're doing compared to comparable districts. So I would just ask if it's okay with the committee and if the committee's on board with it, do we have comparable districts for special education team facilitators? I know there's two different models that are out there. There's the model that we currently have, which we don't have special education team facilitators, and we have our assistant principals chairing many of these meetings. So I would be curious as to what type of model comparable districts to Dartmouth have, as well as the $120,000 human resources director. We have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we're spending this money accurately and correctly. So I would just be curious, a district with the amount of staff that Dartmouth has, do they indeed have a human resources director? Or is it a shared position with the town or city, municipality? I'm curious about that. And last, I got a couple more things, just bear with me. I think the time to act is now. I don't want to wait. It's making me very nervous. I don't want to wait till when, what is it, 28, FY 28, where the money runs out for school choice.
Yes.
I would like to see at least some type of informational nights. Maybe we could break up as a committee. I'm happy to do it with either Dr. Saban McGuire, Mr. Kiley, and the building principals, that we hold some informational nights at the schools to get the word out there that we've got to start acting now and putting the gears in motion, because if not, we're going to get to FY 28 without a plan. So I think the time to act is now, and we need to just advocate and educate our community members, our parents and caregivers. We owe that to them, because I am personally not comfortable with continuing to take from the school choice fund to fund these 11 FTEs. I'm just not. If it was up to me, I would say put it into the regular budget. Yeah. But I'm trying to build collaboration amongst the other town departments. But I'm not going to jump through hoops, and I'm not going to ask Mr. Kiley, I don't think any of us are, to jump through hoops to break the budget down 100 different ways for other people to digest. The school department reports to the school committee, not to any other department. Mr. Nunes?
No, I'm fine. I'm sorry.
No,
I apologize.
Nope, I just have a lot to say tonight.
That's all right. Gee, usually it's me.
So I'm ready to put in some work.
Yep.
I'm happy to meet at the school level. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to share. Mr. Nunes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you look at the 11 FTEs in school choice that were part of ERSA, okay? And again, broken record. We said from day one, this committee said from day one, when we put the 16 positions on with the ERSA funds because they were needed, we knew that September 30th we were walking off that cliff. We knew that, and we've talked about it. But in this day and age, these positions are needed. They're not pie in the sky. These are needed. These are needed for the students, as to the way society is and everything else, and the needs of these students. So we need these positions: adjustment counselors, reading specialists, OTs, that type of deal. So this is not pie in the sky,
Not with 43.5% high need students.
No, not at all. Okay, and the low income and such, and such. The other thing is, I talked a little bit earlier with school choice about the wiggle room, and when all it takes is the town to say, here's, no. When you look at 27, FY 27, and $291,000, it's only going to take the town to cut us 0.5%, and that chews it up. And then we're sitting at this time next year not knowing which way we're going. So, somewhere down the line, there has to be a rude awakening. And, I like your idea of going out to the schools and presenting this to, PTOs or information nights and things of that nature. probably is going to be the right way to do it.
Thank you for that support. Anyone else?
I think the more, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the more conversations we can have about it and, you know, reiterating or restating or reframing how we're saying something is important because we're not, you know, this is, the numbers don't lie, I think somebody said earlier, and something's got to give. You know, yeah. I won't say any more about that, but
No,
I just
you certainly
I would love for us to get those positions out of school choice, and you know, I don't think if we were to come back to the table and really make a strong statement to say that we weren't going to do something the way that we had done it last year, I think we still have done our due diligence in being very generous, because that's not money we were, that's not money we were piling away. A pandemic happened and we had some grant funding that came in that allowed us not to have to utilize that money, but we were planning to spend it. Remember, we didn't have one-to-one initiatives. We didn't have students bringing their laptops home or their Chromebooks home to do their homework and to access their Google Classrooms the way that we, like, that was, remember, that was just so quickly happened. And that money in school choice was meant to fund those things, not the people in the rooms and that are doing the critical and important work. So I am so supportive of revisiting that, if that's the committee's pleasure, and at a minimum having dialogue in person in the schools, in collaboration perhaps with our DCTV to get it out there in as many ways as we can. So I'm very supportive of that.
Thank you, Mrs. Amaral. I'm really not, and first of all, I appreciate the thoughtful budget presentation that you, Dr. Saban-Maguire, as well as Mr. Kiley, have put together. I think it's very reflective of our needs. I would be remiss, though, if I were to say that I am thrilled with cutting 4.0 FTEs at the elementary level and 2.0 middle school teachers FTEs. For me, I'd like to see more elementary school teachers. We all know that the data speaks to higher achievement with lower class sizes. I think what you've put together, what we've put together, what you presented with us is, you know, reflective of the restraints, of the constraints that the school district has. So thank you both.
Thank you.
A lot to think about.
Thank you very much for a job well done.
Thank you.
Out of the box. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Where are we? New business. Massachusetts School Building Authority Statement of Interest.
By the way, I thought the pattern was, you know, you start an agenda item and everybody just starts applauding. You know, that seemed to be the way things were going tonight. You know?
The room has taken a turn,
Obviously,
Mr.
that
Kiley.
didn't happen with my budget. We'll see about this. Oh, thank you. No, that's too kind. Too kind. I'm sorry. Can I?
You can just,
Okay.
can
Run
I
with
just
this?
say one thing,
Yes,
though,
of course,
because
yeah.
I know you won't say it?
Okay.
Is that the work that Mr. Kiley has done in meeting with and preparing for the statement of interest for the MSBA has been absolutely exemplary, to the point where he was able to condense 6 or 3 full-day visits into less than a day and a half, I think. And what's more impressive is just the sort of response from the folks that they're sending out to us, the consultants. I happened to be on a call and watched and listened in as Mr. Kiley skillfully answered every question with precision, and you could absolutely tell how impressed the folks on the other end are, and I'm sure that was what happened in person too. So I know you wouldn't say that, so I'm saying it.
Thank you. That's very nice. Very nice. Thanks. So We did have the MSBA come and visit. I spent the snow day on Thursday with them. They were scheduled to come in and wanted to come, which worked out actually great. We got around the schools a little quicker than we would have otherwise. And they did visit all our buildings. We're here to talk about this statement of interest, but they were also working on assessing our buildings and the condition of our buildings for further discussion. So hopefully something comes of that. They were impressed with our knowledge and level of maintenance to the buildings, but not blind to the fact that we've got our work cut out for us with, these aging facilities. So they recognize that. So
Did you, Mr. Kiley, did you show them some of the pictures like you showed the finance committee or the CIP committee type,
Yeah.
So in some instances you would have a before and an after?
Yeah, I showed them in real life, like actually walked them around and showed them, identified all those deficiencies that we have. We went up on roofs, we looked at every boiler room, every electrical panel, every plumbing situations and heating. A lot of heating equipment. We went in quite a bit of detail. It was a whirlwind for a day and a half, but it was. And I'd also like to thank John Bernard, our facilities manager. He and I went around with the MSBA folks, and our principals were also very prepared to support with. They actually ask a bunch of educational related questions too, in terms of. Course offerings, what we're doing, and how we're using our spaces educationally. So, yeah, it was a good process. What we have before you, and I know this, we provided this to you, this Mass School Building Authority Statement of Interest for the Dartmouth High School roof and window replacement here at Dartmouth High School. So it took a bit to put this together and make sure we're stating our case the best we can. The building was opened in 2001. The roof was installed in the year 2000. As they were constructing, the building, it's several years past its useful life. The bulk of the roofing material here is black rubber, what they call EPDM. It shrinks and contracts with the heat. When it does that, it cracks and eventually deteriorates to the point where we get water in the building and it leaks down through into the ceilings, and there's a lot of it in this building. We're at the point where it needs to be replaced. Hopefully MSBA has the capacity to help us and ranks our project high on the list. I do think that the MSBA took a year off of the accelerated repair program. Maybe good and bad. They didn't have the money to run it, so they stalled it. In one way, I think they have a larger pool of funds as a result, but they also probably have a glut of projects. So I don't know how we'll rank in terms of those. But we won't know either unless we submit the statement of interest. So the other thing that we included on the statement of interest is windows. The library windows are kind of sheltered, and they're some of the better ones, to be honest, but almost every room that we went in with the MSBA has cloudy windows in this building that have broken seals and condensation issues. There probably were fairly inexpensive windows when they were installed. It was a low bid project. Sometimes you get what you pay for, and they're, now 25 years old. So they're failing, and we're experiencing related issues where we get moisture from the windows and moisture from the roof in the building. This building's a great building. This building can last, I don't know, at least another 30 years if it's taken care of. But
You got to go longer than that.
Right. It should, but if you did a roof and windows and HVAC work on this building, you'll get, out another 20 years before you need to readdress the HVAC stuff, and you probably can get 30 years on a roof if you do a better material than what we have up there now. So I think it's obviously would be money well spent for the MSBA, money well spent for us, and it's been a few years since we've done an MSBA project, so I hope they consider it. Yes, of course.
Just quickly regarding the roof.
Yes.
You talked about the material. So the newer roofs, like Potter, DeMello, the middle school, have the white membrane.
Yes.
So is that what we're looking for?
Well, so what we're looking for is MSBA to say, we'll work with you.
That's it.
I would strongly suggest that we look at maybe a PVC roof similar to what so all of our other school buildings I'm in year 15, we've done. With the first one being in 2011 at the Quinn School, and that was the first time we had a PVC roof in Dartmouth. All of the roofs are PVC, expected to last 30-plus years. You don't have glued seams. You have melted material together, which inherently just makes it a stronger material, longer lasting, and it doesn't react to the weather like the rubber roof does. So it's a better product. It's also more expensive, and this is a huge roof. And so we'll see how that works out, but we'll have that discussion, and I think that the MSBA would likely support it. They supported it at Dartmouth Middle School. They supported it at the Potter School project that we did and the Quinn School project. DeMello and Cushman were not MSBA jobs. We did those without MSBA funding. But I feel pretty confident that they would, support a high-quality product, I would think. So you have the statement of interest before you. I guess the first thing I would say is just offer up if you have any questions about the statement of interest or the material that's included, all this language and things that I wrote on the roof. I guess we should probably address those first before we go to the next part of it, which is voting, hopefully.
Questions?
No questions.
Just very concise and excellent. I mean,
Yep.
No disrespect to MSBA, they're looking for a lot of information to make sure. I think it's all been provided, that's an excellent job.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, so if there are no comments, the MSBA has very stringent requirements as to how the votes take place. The school committee needs to vote. The select board needs to vote. We need to have a series of signatures, which I think are now being done electronically, which I was happy to see. And then it gets submitted, and we need to do all this in the next month. Okay. So I've already alerted the select board that we hope to be on their agenda. It'll be the day after February vacation, 24th. Yeah, okay. So hopefully that happens. So what you have to do is, if you support this, read this in its entirety. And I know it's clunky language. I don't, it doesn't read very well, but it needs to be read. It needs to be in the minutes in its entirety, and your votes need to be recorded. So
Selectmen's meeting would be.
The 24th.
24th, my fault. I'm a little ahead of the game. I apologize. Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I can read this if you'd like.
that'd be great.
There we go. Resolved, having convened in an open meeting on February 10th, 2025, prior to the SOI submission closing date, the school committee of the town of Dartmouth, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated February 2025 for the Dartmouth High School located at 555 Bakerville Road, Dartmouth, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Priority 5, replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating and ventilation systems to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs in the facility. The following are identified deficiencies as required to be described for priority 5. The fully adhered EPDM roof has reached the end of its serviceable life through wall flashings have been determined to be compromised, leaving paths for water infiltration. Stone caps and bands on the above roofline walls are exhibiting signs of failure, allowing water infiltration. Thermal expansion and building settlement has led to cracking and damage to surrounding masonry at the control joints. Perimeter sealant at the windows is failing. Most windows are foggy and filled with condensation. Rooftop unit curbs are severely rusted. Ductwork and pan flashing within the rooftop units are a source of water infiltration. And hereby further specify, acknowledge that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitments from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Dartmouth to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Mrs. Amaral. On the motion, any other discussion? Do we need a roll call? Can't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt.
Roll call, please.
Kathleen Amaral?
Yes.
John Nunes?
Yes.
Mary Beckwith?
Yes.
Bess Coughlin?
Yes.
Chris Oliver?
Yes. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Kiley, for
Kiley.
your work on this. Next up, we have superintendent's update.
Great, thank you. So, under teaching and learning, I am pleased to share that we have started the professional development for our teachers, our elementary teachers, for the new literacy curriculum. And I want to thank, again, Mrs. Katie Paveo for her efforts in leading this work. Our educators, as you know, and we continue to share with the public and with the committee, have done a tremendous job this year engaging in the science of reading PD, and that we are really excited about the number of our teachers who participated in piloting this resource, and we are confident that it is going to be a resource that truly makes a difference for outcomes, student achievement outcomes in our schools. On January 31st at Dartmouth High School, we had a group of students who traveled with Mrs. Weinert to Bridgewater State University's new state-of-the-art cybersecurity range, and they got to participate in some hands-on activities related to cybersecurity, and this opportunity was led by Bridgewater State University professors and senior computer majors from Bridgewater State University, and this really gives our students an opportunity to explore, as we've said, areas of interest that they might not have had the opportunity to do so without having these kind of connections to some of the higher ed organizations, higher ed in the state. And so we'll continue to explore those partnerships. Last week, our secondary level Spanish team met, and they continue to collaborate on the new resource, Somos, and that's the Spanish curriculum that is piloted at both Dartmouth Middle School and the high school. And we're excited to announce, and I know this has happened several times, where we're hosting March 5th and 6th, the 2-day regional workshop right here. As a matter of fact, one of our Green Apple Award recipients, Hillary Souza, is instrumental in bringing that here to Dartmouth High School, but it does give us a chance to be sort of the models for the work that's happening around supporting world language. The district has once again registered for the Civic Showcase. If you remember, we were selected to participate last year, so we're waiting to hear. Our students did receive commendation last year when they participated, and this year we're hoping to bring in Dartmouth Middle School and Dartmouth High School. So these are the efforts that we're making to kind of try out partnerships and then expand them as we start to see success. The first Playbook Initiative workshop is going to be hosted at Dartmouth High School on Wednesday. And if you remember this from last year, we had a few students who were involved in that and then connected with the middle school students. We have Tia Radigan and Audrey Kircher, who have developed, along with Dr. Thibault and Senora, please, I think I have to call her that, Chamberlain, have worked to review an agenda. They've developed materials, and they are actually planning and will facilitate this workshop. And so, again, gives our students a chance to be really out in front of other students and to take on leadership roles. But at the same time, we also have Dartmouth High School mentors who are going to be providing tours of Dartmouth High School to the 30 middle school students who are here. So that serves a dual purpose, gives us a chance to have the middle schoolers in our high school and give them a chance to see what Dartmouth High School has to offer. And that is, again, part of our district strategic plan and how we're making sure that we're highlighting what we do have to offer. You heard a lot about budget today, and not much about capital improvement, but oh no, that's actually what we just did. That's not true, MSBA. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that tonight. But under HR, which if you remember, I said that I'd report out on HR in this focus area. We have been able to hire a special educator at Dartmouth Middle School, so we're excited about that. The person will be coming on board within the month, and we're continuing to seek applicants at Dartmouth High School, and as you can see, it's much needed, and in fact, we've added additional positions, special ed positions for the high school for your consideration in this budget. We're also really excited to announce, and we got to see one of our principals here tonight at the podium, our new principals of the Quinn and Potter School that has been finalized. I want to thank Katie Paveo and her entire team. She put together a great process in putting together a thoughtful approach and including participation in the process. We'll continue to do that kind of process. I'm especially, though, pleased to announce Dr. Audra Thomas, and I see Melissa McHenry is here. As our, you know you're here, so you might as well stand up and wave. Here, I know. So we are, and as we had an opportunity to talk to both Melissa and with Audra last week, we're so excited to have them on board in those principalships. They are, no doubt, are going to be phenomenal leaders for those elementary schools. And I know that they have a lot of support amongst their staff, students, and families. So we're excited about that. Stephanie Riccardi has taken the reins at the Cushman School. I was able to visit there, and by all accounts and everything I'm hearing, she has been warmly received by the Cushman staff, by students, by families. And as a matter of fact, I'll just mention now, even though it's under community engagement, there will be a preschool family information night. And that will be Wednesday, February 26th from 6 to 7. And that will be for parents to learn more about what we offer for preschool and also to meet the new early childhood director. So that's perfect timing. Mrs. Denisio shared this with me, and I think, again, a way for us to be connecting as often as possible with the families, especially when our families are coming to us brand new. So in the coming weeks, you can expect to hear more about our search for the assistant principals now. We shift to hiring for assistant principals at both the Potter and the Quinn. And I think that's wonderful, by the way, that we look at the pipeline that we had and, again, the process that we went through. And we clearly had strong internal candidates that most deservedly are now appointed as the principals of their schools.
And I would just like to thank you for a transparent, inclusive process
Yes.
for these searches.
And I can promise that you'll see that will be repeated. It'll look different depending on the position in terms of who will participate, but there will be an open, transparent process with lots of opportunity for voices to be included in that process. So as far as family and community engagement, we released our first edition of the Dartmouth Compass. Did you get to see it? Oh, that's great. Thank you. And that's a newsletter, a quarterly newsletter for our staff. It's really an internal newsletter, and we'll talk about the way that might look moving forward, but we thought it was important for us to establish some communication from central office to staff and faculty, really highlighting not only the work happening through offices at Central, but actually highlighting what's happening out in the schools as well. So that was another inaugural edition, so we expect to see that grow, and we look for any recommendations for, things that people think might should be included in this newsletter. So that was our first chance at it. As you know, we hosted the first Green Apple Awards ceremony this evening. Again, we look to make these things part of our traditions, so they're not just one-offs. They're things that we're looking to really embed in the climate and culture of the school district. I'll mention that the Dartmouth High School Orchestra is headed to Spain for February vacation, as you know, as you approved it. But they are going to be visiting Barcelona, Salente, hope I said that right, and Valencia. And I know they're very excited, and in fact, they're going to be presenting a performance, their tour performance, on Friday night right here at 7 o'clock. And admission is free, but they're not they will take donations. But the concert will be about 1 hour. And then under safe and supportive schools, I want to point out the most recent decision to close schools due to impending snow. Because as much as we joke about this, and when I met with students the year before when I was interviewing for this position, they asked me about snow dates. Like, that was important to the students. And I know that students love a snow date. I also know some adults who are in this very room who also love snow dates, and they know who they are. But as much as we joke, I want you to know that the decision really doesn't come easily. It's not something that we just sit in a room and go, you know what, we're going to call off school. Jim and I know he's talking to people here in town, DPW. I'm talking to almost every superintendent in this area. As a matter of fact, I had several phone calls that night with a few of them. And we really do try to work together to make decisions. But decisions are unique to every community. And we consider multiple factors, the most important being that we guarantee the roads will be safe for the travel of over 3,500 staff, students, and families on their way to school. And when you're not knowing exactly when the timing of a storm is, to me, I'm always, and with the support of my team, who are, really super supportive, because I want you to know, not easy. And I woke up the next day praying for snow. I was looking out the window saying, please snow, please snow. And it did, so I was okay with that. But I just want you to know, here in Dartmouth, what's unique is you have lots of roadway to cover. It's very different when you have kids who are driving to school, you have families who are driving to school, and you have 29 buses on the roads. And that is something that we have to take into consideration. That is, I think, unique to Dartmouth. But, and by the way, we always want to have school. You don't have a superintendent out there who wants to cancel school. You wanted me to cancel.
No. May I?
Oh, okay. Sure.
It's just related. So I just want to say that I have a child who does require some significant extra help and does attend one of our out of district placements, and they called school much earlier than you did.
Good.
Thank
you.
So my love him, but
that was
earlier in
calculated.
the day when Dartmouth came through. I thought, oh, why not? Let's make some popcorn.
And I'm just hoping that there isn't any more snow. But I'm hearing there might be more. But we're going to err on the side of caution, and that is really under the umbrella of safe and supportive schools, because it is about getting people to their workplace safely, and we are talking about a large number of people and humans and little ones and high school kids who are just getting their licenses and all those things. So I thank you for the committee for your support on that. I know I called the chair and said, this is what we're doing.
It was the right call.
Yeah. So thank you.
Right call.
So that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, I believe it's the report of the chair. Just a couple of quick things. Just wanted to just circle back to the budget and the newly formed strategic plan. That I think it's important that we really also recognize, and I know it was part of the budget packet, how this new strategic plan that was recently approved by this committee and all the work through the stakeholders in town ties into the budget, and how the close connection between the two. And I think that should be the driving force moving forward as well. To come back to the strategic plan. That's all the time and effort that you and your team put in. I think that's important to know, especially when we're presenting to other folks around town. I'd just like to say, thank you for the Green Apple Award presentations, as well as the monthly staff newsletters. I don't know about any of you. I find the Parent Square information emails helpful in keeping us up to date. So,
and we have a new symbol on our backpack, weekly backpack. Karen Scorpio would definitely love you to know that if you noticed the D1. So she's updated it. Hadn't been updated in quite some time.
That's great. No, thank you for that. I just think that it certainly helps to build staff morale around the district, these types of initiatives.
Great, thank you.
That's all I have. Any of my colleagues? Mr. Nunes?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple of things. I know our student rep talked about it, but again, congrats to Kat Cheeseborough. I was at the game, and it was really nice. Everybody was feeding, the way she went about it, and the nice ceremony that took place when she, they stopped the game when she scored her career point. So now let's see if she can, no pressure, but see if she can make two. type of deal. Color Guard kicked off their weekend. Their competition season is this weekend up in Melrose. They were the only group in their Scholastic Open, so they came in first with a score of 71-9, which, looking at the other scores, was about on the ballpark with the first place team, so that's good. We do have, and I know I mentioned it, Saturday, March 1st, we've got a NSBA competition here starting at 11 o'clock and going through till probably 8:45, 9 o'clock. Both Color Guard and Percussion. Our middle school Color Guard will be performing at 11:40. Our varsity is at 4 o'clock with awards right after, type of deal. And then the percussion part of the night kicks off right after that. And Dartmouth is on at 8:26. And all things being considered, and they'll be out, and we'll have awards right after that. So I will be sending out a email asking for help for trophies and awards. The following week is a big week. We've got a WGI Percussion here, starting at 8 o'clock. And the way that runs is there's preliminaries that's going to run from basically 8 to 2:30. Dartmouth is on at 2 o'clock. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. to 2:30. Dartmouth is on at 2 o'clock. And then finals kick off at 5:30. And Dartmouth is on at 8:15 in the finals. I'm not sure what the awards are or what is needed. I'll let you know as soon as I find out, type of deal. I do not have a cost of admission for the NSBA show. That's not up on the website yet. For the WGI Percussion, for preliminaries is $14, for finals is $18, or you can buy a ticket for both for $24. So, and they will take cash, Venmo, or credit cards. And these all benefit the DSMA, the Music Association. So, a couple of long days coming up, but that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes, for that update. All right. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, where an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the school committee's bargaining position, Dartmouth Educators Association. Not to reconvene.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Noon, second by Ms. Beckwith. On the motion, any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Kantner.
Kathleen Amaral?
Yes.
John Nunes?
Yes.
Mary Beckwith?
Yes.
Bess Coughlin?
Yes.
Chris Oliver?
Yes. Have a good night, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Happy Valentine's Day.